All right, welcome into the 2024 season, week one recap. We got the first one of the year, and we got the top scorer of week one, Noah, with me. Noah, how's it feel to get off to a super hot start with 161 points and a weekly prize right off the bat?
I'd like to say it's all luck. Half of my points was a kicker, and the other half was Barkley. But moving forward, I'm hoping to maintain something like that. But I believe it was all luck.
It was a big, big week for kickers, and we're
Oh
both
my
going to
god!
talk about that in our matchups.
Oh. Even I think the Steelers kicker had like a over 20 point week too.
They had 18.6 field goals.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't get me wrong. Don't want to get rid of kickers. We'll get in that later. But a big reason why you guys want to get rid of kickers happened in week one. Big reason.
Definitely did. So, first of all, with the recaps this year too, don't expect it every single week. I'm going to plan on doing, a few throughout the year. So definitely wanted to get one after week one. Just very excited for the year. Wanted to get you in here. So we'll try to do it every couple weeks for you guys. Better than last year where I think we did one all year. But every single week is tough. So we're going to try to do a few, every couple weeks. So we'll update throughout the season if there's anything else we want to talk about. Draft last couple of weeks that once we get in mid-season, if we want to go over where we're at with the playoff standings, we'll get into all that. So but yeah, let's get it underway with your matchup. 161 to 130 win for Noah over Zach. Got the median win and the matchup win 2-0. First place right now with the points. And like you mentioned, on the back of Saquon Barkley, 3 touchdowns for him in his Eagles debut. So yeah, how do you feel about your team this week going up against Zach?
I didn't think I was going to win by a lot. Zach has a really good team. But I was just happy with the touches a lot of my running backs got. So I was like, you know what, moving forward, big running back guy. If they're going to keep getting these touches, I think I can kind of keep winning moving forward.
Yeah, and a big, like you mentioned, your kicker, Brandon Aubrey, phenomenal 22 points. Not quite as good as my kicker, but 22 points. 22 from your defense. I mean, some big moves there.
I didn't even realize my defense got 22. That's crazy.
Well, you went up against
Those are
Daniel Jones.
my three highest scorers were kicker, defense, and Saquon Barkley. Probably could
Yeah,
have
I mean,
beat with that.
161 with Joe Burrow only giving you 8 points from the quarterback position. And I mean, you had some low scores too. Christian Kirk had 4, Goddard had 7, which is whatever for a tight end. And even ETN and DJ Moore were kind of disappointing, and you still managed to put up 161.
Yeah. All defense and kicker. I'm not really helping the cause of keeping them in this league, I guess.
Yep. And meanwhile, Zach, who we will get into the matchup next with me and Drew, but Zach lost out. He looked like he was a shoo-in for the median at least, even though he didn't have much of a chance to beat you. And he lost the median by 0.5. So Zach goes 0-2 on the week. The scores are going to be higher. We know that. We're double flex now. We had a whole nother position added. So I felt like it was a pretty low scoring week, and the median was still Zach scored 130 and didn't get the median. So
I completely forgot we had 2 flexes, so the scores would be higher.
yeah,
Because I was thinking like 130 was like a high week last year,
yeah,
and I was amazed he didn't get the median. But
yeah.
he went into tanking mode or something, traded away half his team.
He did. Your
I,
loss spiraled him into I need to make significant changes after week one. And he went out, and his favorite player, who he never stops talking about, is Brees Hall, and he shipped him right off to Martucci.
Hey, he shipped off what's Puka, and Puka might not be back for a while, so that was kind of like a good thing.
Yeah, that was an interesting deal. It's Lamar and who, he's got Anthony Richardson, who he had on his bench and had a phenomenal week this week. So he had 2 stud quarterbacks. So that doesn't hurt him a lot. And then Puka obviously is going to be out for 4 weeks, and who knows when he comes back, if he's going to be the same for a little bit. He picks up Nico Collins and Achan, who is questionable on Thursday too. But, if Achan, the production that he got, and I know because I started Raheem Mostert, so I was watching that carefully, it was all Achan. And if that's the case, I mean, he's got a potential to be a top running back. So I see it from both sides.
I was happy with HN the passing game wise. What 7 receptions? I was last year. I feel like it was all big runs that gave him his points.
Yeah.
Like that he was in the passing game a lot before his ankle or something.
Yeah. So
So
So Zach opted to go
That's
after
something
that.
good looking moving forward.
Yep. So that'll be a new look for his team going in. He's obviously going to have Anthony Richardson going forward. So yeah, it's only week one. No one would be freaking out, but Zach definitely expects to compete this year after the 0-2 start against you. So weekly prize winner right here. So moving on. Speaking of gigantic kicker performances, I don't feel good about this. Let me just start with. I'm not like trying to victory lap this because I do not feel good about this. Me and Jake have been the leaders of the screw kicker movement, and we want to get rid of them, and nobody wants to. I genuinely believe it's so much luck. I don't really think like there's no rhyme or reason. I picked Moody at the end of the draft. There wasn't like any thought that went into it. And he's the reason I won. He was literally my leading scorer. Tyreek Hill was 7 for 130 and a touchdown, and my kicker scored more than him. And with that said, that was one of the most improbable Monday night comebacks. I mean, and I feel bad because of the way it worked out. There wasn't really any major indication that McCaffrey was going to miss that game for Drew until the last second. So, and he was still listed as questionable. So, right, you still have to like look at the injury report, but all the indications were questionable, but he's expected to play. So that was.
I had no idea, and it kind of sucks because I was excited to see the new sleeper feature of the auto sub.
Yeah.
And that would have been a perfect example of
Yes.
it getting done. But nobody knew McCaffrey was really going to be out. It was like, yeah, we knew he had a calf or a came out Achilles injury, but not to the extent where he was going to miss time.
Yeah. So, and with it being a Monday night game now, yeah, that said, that's a good lesson, I think, for everybody on when to use the auto sub feature there, because so he could have, even just seeing that he's questionable, you get to use it for one slot, right? So even if you got someone that's questionable that you're 99% sure they're going to play, like throw on the auto sub. You never know, especially if it's a Monday night game or a Sunday night or a later game in the week. Because had he gone in and even said like, okay, maybe we take Justice Hill and we throw him in as the auto sub, Drew would have won. Because if he had Hill locked in, then he could have had Justice Hill's points. So that's I think a good lesson for people to utilize auto sub. If you don't know how to use it, let me know. You just go in like you're subbing out your player, you can hit the auto sub.
I've tested it. I don't know if anyone else really has, but it seems like you can only do one player per week has auto subs, right?
Yes, you only get one. So if you have multiple questionable players, you got to decide which one's the most risky to do it with.
But, all right, back to your matchup.
Yeah.
Your defenses again.
Yeah.
18 and 25.
Yeah.
Like a defense scoring in these couple matchups have been very high. I mean, 25 might have been his second highest score too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Drew had Jaden Reed go out there, have an unbelievable game on Friday. That was a tough start to the week for me. With 33 from him, and it sucks for me because I love Jaden Reed coming into the year, and I just didn't take him high enough. Like I should have reached for him a little bit more because I liked him a lot. Now it sucks with Jordan Love's injury, so we'll see how Reed is for Drew going forward. But yeah, that was a big game for the Bears defense for him, and just a really tough loss because I know I've been in maybe not quite that bad, but I've been in similar situations where I lose because a kicker puts up 20, and there's no worse feeling.
The bright side is he obviously got the median, but I mean, other than that, McCaffrey's going to be back, and obviously his players, other than Allen, got a bunch of targets or touches, so I think he's going to be fine moving forward.
Yeah, he will.
Like,
and
12 from Sutton, holy, that must have been like the second most in the week, other than Cooper Kupp. Oh my God,
that was the other part of this matchup, was watching, because he had no other choice, no other options. He had to put Braylon Allen in. Obviously, he didn't want to play Braylon Allen. That's the only choice he had. He's the backup to Breece Hall. That's not even a timeshare. That is a backup running back.
Yeah.
The whole game I'm watching while Moody gave me the lead, I'm like, keep this game close enough so there's no garbage time. I was so nervous about a garbage time drive with Braylon Allen in there. They put Tyrod Taylor in the game, and then it was still Breece Hall in the backfield. And I'm like, what are they even like? I like it, but what are they doing? And then Allen comes in, gets a catch. He had a catch for 9 yards. He had a carry for 8 yards. And those two plays is what got him over Zach. Zach would have got the median if Braylon Allen had, 1 point or less, and he beat him on that. And they got down to the goal line. Again, meaningless. The announcers aren't even watching the game because the game's over. There's 30 seconds left, and I am sweating on my couch on a Monday night at 11:30 because I'm watching these backups. And Braylon Allen and Tyrod Taylor stumbles down to the 3-yard line, and I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna give Braylon Allen a touchdown. If they did, I would have lost by decimals. So that was a wild end in garbage time, but I was able to hang on. And I was in play. Like, I didn't even think I was going to get the median. So I, easily could have been an 0-2 week, ended up 2-0. So that's the way fantasy goes. Drew goes to 1-1. He's in 6th place, the top scorer that, or the last person that got the median. So he'll still be in good shape. Moving on, we'll go to the Chris and Andre matchup. Andre was the 3rd highest scorer this week with 154. He beat Chris at 131. Chris snuck in the median as well, so Chris was 1-1 on the week. Thanks to the 49ers defense just barely held on for him. They only got 7, but it was just enough for him to get the median. Godwin with a big week for Chris. He led the way, and Andre with Josh Allen with 35.
Yeah, big weeks. Both have some. I mean, Dre's team, scary team. Wide receivers obviously show it. You got George Pickens on Chris's team that I want to kill myself because he's a starter in this league. But whatever. Again, kickers are double-digit scores in this matchup. Top tier almost for Chris is top. Yeah, one of his top performers again was a kicker. It's becoming like a trend. Like, you pick the right kicker, you might be able to win a game, which for his sake might have been the median.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if that trend continues or if it was mainly because if you saw like the passing yardage, passing touchdowns were crazy low this week, like compared to all other week ones in years past and other average weeks in the NFL, it was way lower. So I wonder if I hope kicker scoring will go down when there hopefully is more touchdowns, more passing. So we'll see if that continues. But I mean, Dre with 154, and it was, not a crazy game for Jonathan Taylor. I mean, he only had 10, and that was with a touchdown included. Tank Dell is capable of going off. He only had 8. So, I like Dre's team a lot. It's not surprising. He's the reigning champ, and he starts out 2-0.
Yeah. You know what? At least Robinson looked good for the Falcons. Even though the Falcons look gross, he finally is the guy. Like, I forget, I didn't see like what the share was, but I think I read somewhere it was like over 70% of the touches went to Robinson. And I was like, oh my God, like this is what Jake was preaching last year, is what he just needs to give the ball to.
It didn't even feel like it felt like the Falcons had a terrible game. Didn't even feel like Bijan had a great game. He still ended up with 16 points. So I think he's gonna carry Chris this year, I believe. So moving on to Sam and Jake. This was the lowest scoring matchup of the week. We had Sam get the win 117-85, which when you consider adding the extra flex, 85 is insane. So Jake came in this year with a new strategy. He said he didn't do much research. Still don't know if I believe him, but he says he didn't do a lot of research, and it is not working so far.
No, he sucks.
He still sucks.
Yeah.
He had Ramondre with 21, and literally that was the only decent performance.
You look at his team, even to his bench, and you're like, this team sucks. Like, you go to his bench, and there's like only Charbonnet got double digits because of that. He got a touchdown in the pass game or something. But Sam, you look at his running backs, they suck. Like, there's a trend. You don't get running backs, your team might suck. Like,
Sam goes with DeAndre Swift with 5, Chuba Hubbard with 1, which both of those scores surprised me. I kind of expected both of them to have better days. Evan Ingram, 1 catch for 5 yards. That was a tough performance too. But Sam And Amon-Ra with 4 points. He's never done that in his career.
No, that is the Amon-Ra was crazy because we'll probably obviously see him later in a matchup, but Williams was like the guy for them, and I was like mind boggled because
Yeah.
I was like, St. Brown usually gets like 20 targets a game.
Yeah. But Mike Evans caught 2 touchdowns, and I think what could potentially be the pick of the whole draft is Cooper Kupp. 32 points for Sam. Got him. Was it in the 3rd round or the 4th? You know what? I still have the draft board on my wall. So yeah, it was the 3rd round.
No, I think the pick of the draft was Jordan Mason because now he's just going to be
Yeah.
RB1 for the league. I don't know how long McCaffrey's going to be out. It seems like Achilles tendonitis is actually like a long-term thing. But if Jordan Mason can put up what he does put up, that's sneaky.
I mean, look at Sam's bench, right? Zach Moss had a good game, and in a game where Cincinnati did nothing against the Patriots, Zach Moss still at 14 on his bench. He's got Jordan Mason, who's looks like he's gonna be phenomenal whenever McCaffrey doesn't play. Tyler Lockett was fine, and he has Isaiah Likely. So all these huge waiver wire acquisitions from week 1, they're already on Sam's team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if Likely will keep it up.
I hope not.
It was great. I hope so for dynasty sakes, but it was just like great. It was like their offensive scheme was pretty much run the ball with Lamar or give it to Likely. Like it was crazy. I felt like.
Yeah, I mean, going back and watching some highlights, I don't know if this is just me being a Mark Andrews owner that's hopeful, but the Chiefs were all over Mark Andrews. Like they were not going to let Mark Andrews catch the ball at all, and that opened things up for Likely. So I'm hoping that was a game plan type thing. So we'll see. On to the second highest scorer of the week, which was Kyle with a 156-118 win over one of our 2 new players. We had Anthony Martucci into the league this year. It was a tough start for him going 0-2. But he ran into Kyle with Joe Mixon, who looks so much better than I expected him to for Houston with 26 points. And then he started Jerome Ford, who looked good with 18. And Brian Thomas looks like a really good rookie too. So he didn't even get anything really out of Chase with only 12, and it was a really good first week for Kyle.
Yeah, no, I thought he looked really good. I thought Henry underperformed. Like he really didn't have any running room. I thought when I watched that game. Mixon, I was just like, 33 touches is crazy. Like no way he can keep up that volume. But other than that, he looked really good. They look like they wanted to like emphasize a run game to open up the pass. Chase is obviously going to do better when he's not with the Pats. Rice looked like the only option for the Chiefs in that game too.
Yep.
I don't know. I like his team, and when Ford becomes a backup, he's still got Nick Chubb. He has Williams on his bench.
Yeah.
They might be a little thin at run back, but whatever. I like his team through and through. I love Martucci's name. Just saw it right now. That is unreal. Unreal.
High rollers, tendies. Now, if you think about it, though, what he did was he made his team ass, and that is the way that it shaped out in week 1. He knows that those high rollers, tendies are terrible, and that was the showing from his team this week.
Yeah, little weird to have Dak Prescott and still trade for Lamar. But whatever, you do you.
Really was not encouraged by the 13-point showing from Dak in week 1. And we talked about the trade. So Achane's off the roster now. He brings in Breece Hall. I mean, Breece Hall and Jahmyr Gibbs is a phenomenal running back duo. So he's now going to be the one praying that Puka comes back healthy, because right now, without Puka there for the next couple of weeks and trading Nico Collins, he's looking at Chris Olave, who had 2 catches for 11 yards. Khalil Shakir was fine, but can he keep it up? And he's got Lab McConkey, who I'm sure he's going to be starting now because he had a very good game on his bench, but he's pretty thin at wide receiver for full PPR.
He traded away his 2 highest performing guys.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to see how your team did, and was like, yeah, the 2 best guys in my team, I'm shipping away.
It's like you putting anytime some good news comes out or somebody is looking like their arrow's pointing up, put them on the trade block.
100%. I love the idea of being an underdog, but for Martucci, who might suck at fantasy football, he probably shouldn't be an underdog.
On that note, we go to the last matchup of the week. Welcome to the league, Martucci. And welcome to the league, Sean Reardon, who puts up 95 points in week 1. A tough showing for him as well. So both of the newcomers, 0-2 right now. I don't like looking at these team names for this matchup, but Ryan Hilsey getting the win 122-95. Did not get the median, so Ryan goes 1-1 on the week in the seventh spot in the league after one game, and Sean with only 95. He had a lot. Sean had a lot of underperformers, a lot of single digits. Ken Walker and James Cook were fine, and other than that, I mean, his every one of his receivers plus Kincaid was very bad in week one.
Yeah. No. You know what? Other than D Hop, I didn't look at D Hop stats. Like, I wasn't really scared for his team because I mean, Keenan Allen, even though he didn't break double digits, still got 11 targets. I saw something that Jerry Jeudy was out there for like 80+% of the snaps, and he got 8 targets. Like, that's good and all. Robinson, that 50 Cent, I mean, sorry, my bad. He obviously looks way better than Eckler. Like, as long as Washington figures out, like, I don't think Sean's team's going to be that bad, especially like he's still got Kenny Walker, James Cook. Like, he'll be fine. Hilsey's team, I was a little surprised about. Like, Aaron Jones actually did a lot better than I thought, considering I thought Aaron Jones was going to be a backup to Chandler, but I was wrong.
Here's the tough thing for Ryan Hilsey is that the Minnesota Vikings will not play the New York Giants every single week. So we're gonna see how the Vikings do. No, I'm pretty sure they have San Francisco in week 2. So we'll see how those Vikings fare. But obviously Jefferson, I'm not worried about him, especially with Sam Darnold. Again, it was the Giants, so we'll see. But Sam Darnold looked better than people expected. So if that's the case, Jefferson could be a steal if Sam Darnold is competent.
Yeah, no, exactly. You know what? And I do like Ayuk. Obviously, he dropped that touchdown pass. It was a little out of his reach. That might have changed things. Maybe get him to median. I don't know how far off he would have been. But losing Jordan Love kind of sucks. Losing Njoku kind of sucks. Like, I'm curious to see if this was the lowest defensive matchup in the league last.
It might have been defense and kicker both, but yeah, with only 5 and 6 here, I do expect. Well, I'm looking at Sean's team, but so going back to Sean, I mean, I think Jared Goff is gonna I like that pick for somebody who didn't take a quarterback until the double-digit rounds. I think Goff's gonna be really good this year. He obviously only put up 13 last week, so we'll see. But I think Goff will be better going forward. And for Hilsey, it looked like Jordan Love was a great pick. He had a great game, and then that was really unfortunate at the end. I have Love in another league, and I felt that as well, and it sucked. So he's going to be leaning on Trevor Lawrence here for a little bit, most likely, which could be tough.
And hopefully finding a tight end for week 2.
Yeah, he lost David Njoku as well, who left during the game and still had 4 for 44, which the way tight ends performed this week, Njoku was one of the top scorers with 8 points. So that one will hurt Hilsey as well. Overall, week 1, it was extremely close. I think it was low scoring. I'm going to be interested to see what the medians look like going forward. I wouldn't be that surprised if medians are closer to like 140s range with an extra player in here. But 130 this week, and there was a lot of people fighting for it all the way down to the end. But not much has changed with the top 2 of the top 3 scorers in the league being Noah and Andre. So that's pretty much the way it's gone in this league for quite a while.
Yeah, Andre. He doesn't even need to come to the draft. He can fake COVID all he wants.
Still upset that we saw a trophy that didn't apply to this actual league, and Ryan walked in like he won something when actually he's been in this league for 15 years and has never won anything in this league. And Andre, who's won 3 times and is our reigning champ, didn't get to come, unfortunately. So that was upsetting. But
yeah, and Hilsey also tried to leave the trophy behind. Andre would have never left the trophy behind.
Never. How could you forget that? Any final thoughts going forward and from your big performance in week 1 and moving forward for the next couple of weeks?
Joe Burrows on the trade block. Love the guy. Good looking guy. Might want to be Slim Shady, but I'd like to move him so I can start Daniels or something. But no, moving forward. Like I think you already hit it on the head. I think it was a low scoring week in the NFL throughout. Like a lot of kicking, like you said. So I do expect the median to go up a little bit. I just forgot it was double flexed.
Yeah.
But I do expect a lot of these wide receivers to start actually turning it up and these QBs to finally get in the 20s plus.
Yep. Kickers are king. I've always said it. They're the backbone of our league. Go get your kickers, everybody. Thanks for joining the week 1 recap. Good best of luck in the 2024 season. How do I stop?